for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines.
Hello, today on Vet Talk we have Raul Rodriguez, candidate for District 79. Raul, thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So to begin, let's go over your background, where you're from, how did you get into this political atmosphere?
Yeah, well, I'm born and raised here. My parents are both, Hispanic.
Bronx, New York.
Born and raised here in the Bronx, New York. I attended my schooling here. I graduated from James Monroe High School, and I immediately went to work, to the workforce. I got married, and then some things changed, and I got divorced, and I got remarried, and I started working for the Department of Education, and I think that's really where I found my passion about community, and doing different things for the community as far as bringing resources to the community that we didn't have at one point, or that we had but we lost them for one reason or another. Building the bridge of communication between the community and the school system. And I did that for quite a bit, for a few years. And it's funny because I actually left to go back to corporate. And I quickly found out again that wasn't my passion, and I came right back. I actually came back running.
I know how that feels.
I came back running to the Department of Education. And it's been 5 years, a little bit more than 5 years, more than 6 years now, as a parent coordinator, which a lot of people really still don't know what the function of the parent coordinator is, but in a nutshell is the go-to person in a school for the principal, the staff, the teachers, the parents. I mean, we are pretty much the glue between those bricks holding stuff together. And we advocate for our parents, and we find them resources, and we advocate for our children. And we're pretty much at the forefront every single day, day in, day out. And that's where I believe that the passion for politics came from.
All right, so as a child or growing up, did you ever join any of those big debate clubs or anything like that?
No. Well, you see, this is one of the main reasons why I'm running, is because we have embedded in our kids' lives, in their mind, they've been told since very little, you live in the poorest congressional district in the nation, okay? And I feel that that's completely wrong, because we live in the congressional district with the most potential, because the number one resource that we have in our communities is good people. And we find them every single day. Every single day we find them. So I was embedded, in my mind it was embedded from very early on that a lot of us were destined to fail because we live in the poorest congressional district in the nation. So I wanted to do nothing with politics. I was like your average community member where doesn't believe in their elected officials, does not believe in the democratic process, okay, does not believe in the government structure that we have. They just want to be left alone. They want to work. They want to come home and take care of their families. So for a very long time, that was the mindset that we had. Okay, and understanding the process and being more involved in the community, and knowing that that is not the case. Okay, that we have so much potential in our community that we just need the right leadership, okay, to be able to step us into the new direction, okay, to make sure that we're providing a better future for our kids and our community. Started changing everything on me the way I.
So you weren't grown to the position. You came into, or assuming you were in the civilian life, just living happily, and then come to find out there's a problem, a situation, an advocacy deficiency, and then you stepped up to the game.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's basically the same story that we both shared, and that's what makes us good friends.
Absolutely.
So now, on your way to becoming candidate, District 79. That the reason you're going to, or assuming running for District 79 because you live in District 79.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of confusion of residency. I think for all candidates, okay. Um, they, my wife has a job over at the college store, okay, and we do spend some time there because that's her second job, okay. Our residence is 419 East 157th Street, which is Melrose and Elton. So there's been a lot of confusion, and I think that at one point I had people follow me
Oh, wow.
and taking pictures because of the fact that I will go and take my wife to her second job and we work and she work, that's her job, not mine, and we spend time there. That they were saying that I live in a college dorm and that I actually got evicted from. I'm not sure where did the story begin.
I'm sure the tabloids or the people that would want you not in this position, one because you're a fan of the people, the second because of all the problems that have been going on in the Bronx. I'm in the 79th district. You go into, I guess, a seat that was, I can't remember, Stevenson doing the
Eric Stevenson, yes.
Eric Stevenson doing the whole bribery scandal.
Yes, I gotta tell you, there's always two sides of a story, as we all know, and there's the side that we see in the media that is portrayed as another elected official being indicted, corruption charges, etc., and then there's his side of the story, Actually, when the jury delivered, okay, the verdict, I put a face on Facebook and on his page, my family will be praying for yours, because I feel that, as minorities, okay, we are always a target. So they're always looking for things, to find on us, and not only to find, but to actually, stick to us, so, but the district, going back to the 79th district, it has had a rough time. We have, in the last 20 years, we have had 3 elected officials. 2 of them have been removed on corruption charges. The third one, which is, I actually got to meet him and spend a little bit of time with him, Michael Benjamin, which I think was a great legislator, great, I haven't spent that much time with him, so I can say he's been a great mentor to me. But the few times that we've actually spoken, he always had great ideas and resources to share. And it's been an inspiration. It's been an inspiration.
Well, that's good. Now, talking about this district, though, I mean, now you have all these potential people that want to be the next 79 district leader.
Assembly
member. Now, everybody's trying to come out with different stories, maybe where you live, where you work, etc., etc. Now, if you push that all aside, let's just focus on the people in District 79.
Yes.
Now, what does District 79 cover? Because we've already gotten District 77, 78 here. What makes District 79 so important?
So, the 79th district covers from Congress Village, which is below the family courthouse on 161st Street, on the east side of Grand Concourse coming down. And it goes all the way up to the parking lot of the Bronx Zoo, 183rd Street and Summit Boulevard. So we have just right under 130,000 residents. 78,000 plus are Hispanics, Latinos. 38,000 plus are African Americans. So the reason why it's so important is because the demographics in our community rapidly could change. We have a really large growing Muslim community. And I feel that, the same way that we have issues, Latinos have issues in our communities with jobs, public safety, housing, health, and education. The Muslim community also have. The same issues that the African American community has. Okay, but what we have is people that they kind of either focus on one group, one constituency base, okay, or or pick and choose. I feel that the best candidate, the best assembly member will be the one that makes sure that is helping everyone in the district,
That's a great point.
regardless of if they even register voters, or not. They still live in the district. They're still constituents.
And that's a great point of view. Now, we're going to go on a short break. As soon as we get back, we're going to come back with Raul Rodriguez, and we're going to speak regarding his platform and then an open discussion. Thank you.
My name is Gonzalo Duran. I was in the United States Marine Corps for 8 years. In 2008, I was deployed to Iraq, and I lived next to the burn pits out there. Unfortunately, at that time, I wasn't aware that it was affecting my lungs. Well, with the burn pits, they weren't being properly regulated, and so they were burning anything and everything you can imagine. I lived in a shack maybe less than a mile away from the burn pit. So while they were burning, the dust, debris, etc. would come surround us, but it's not like you can pick up and move. With that issue, for me, it messed up my lungs, and unfortunately, I have a lot of skin issues as well. Fashion as Hearts is very unique. Now, with fashion, it's bringing veterans with artistic and their backgrounds and putting them in a different atmosphere for many, and giving them the opportunity that they would not come in contact with. Originally, I wanted my colors to be military or my branch, but to keep it more to the professional and simple look, I chose more of a black or grayscale outline. The shape of the insoles look just like a lung, so the inside will be the design of the lung. Then keeping with the phrase and the design of professional yet subtle with the motto. The outside is very basic. There's boss that represents a skyline, and then the bottom and inside have the different representations.
Hello, we're back today with Raul Rodriguez, candidate for 79th District. When we left off, we already spoken about your background and why you're running, which is it's a great story. Now let's focus on your platform. What is your platform?
Well, my platform has come from the work that I've done with the school system, which the first one is education reform. Okay. Also, we in our platform we talk about a lot of things that people are just not talking about. This is an issue every day with rent. How rent keeps going higher and higher and higher, but salaries are not. Everyone in the nation is excited about moving forward to a 10-10 minimum wage. But if you do the numbers in a city like New York City, where most people only work 35 hours a week, that's $350 a week. But let's say you do work 40 hours, so that's $400 a week. That's $1,600 a month. If you're lucky before taxes, you're looking at $1,320, but you're paying $1,200 in rent. Okay, so we are standing up and we're speaking up for the working class. Okay, when it comes to the rent issues, when it comes to rent stabilizing, when it comes to different programs and different subsidies that the state can allocate. Okay, in order to help our working families. Also, no one talks about utilities. No one talks about how Connecticut will change a rate that they charge you every single month, doesn't have to notify you. You look at 12 monthly bills of your Connecticut bill, there's not one single bill that is the same. Even though you still have the same appliances connected. Okay, you use about the same amount of electricity. Why? Because you work X amount of hours a day. Okay, so you're not home. And you come home and you still use the same appliances and the same electricity usage, but the bill is always different. We talk about public safety, which obviously is a really big issue in our community. Why? Because we are being targeted. Minorities are being targeted. for many different reasons. I just saw an article today that stop and frisk went down 90%, but shootings have gone up 10%. So there has to be a balance there, and there has to be someone that is strong enough that's going to say, you know what, this is wrong. We're going to stand up. We're going to organize, and we're going to do this legally, and we're going to move forward. Okay, so our platform is education. Okay, public safety, higher jobs. I'm union. I'm a union member, Local 372, which is the largest local union in New York City. It's actually the only local union that has come out to endorse us officially and publicly. And we're members of District Council 37, members of ASME, which is American Federation of State, Municipal, and County Employees, which is the largest municipal union in the nation. So we support jobs. We support living wages jobs. Okay, we need our members, we need our brothers and sisters to go out to a job where they feel that they're not being discriminated, where they're not being taken advantage of, and where they can still make a living wage. They can come home and be able to pay their bills.
So you're a man of the people.
Absolutely, because I know how hard it is. I have 4 daughters. I'm married, I have 4 daughters, I have a 15-year-old, I have a 9-year-old, I have a 2.5-year-old and an 11-month-old. And I know how hard it is to pick and choose what bill you're going to pay this month on time. Because you have this going on, and you have school starting. And when school is not starting, school is ending. And you have the summer camps and the programs that you have to take care of. So I know the struggles that we face every day, especially when it comes to financial struggles in our community.
Now, just to go back a little bit, with regards to the wages, the 35 hours. The reason a lot of people may not know this, but in this area of the state, what they do is they give us full-time, part-time jobs.
Yes.
Which is at 35 hours, so that they don't have to pay us, health insurance, medical, yada 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 yada.
Or overtime at that.
Or overtime.
Yeah, overtime.
Because even as a part-time member, even if you do work overtime, because you're not a full-time employee, it doesn't count as overtime pay.
Right. There's a lot of reform that needs to take place, and this is why I feel, and obviously my community, a lot of members in my community feel that we're the right candidates, and that we will become the best assembly members that we can, because we know the struggles that we face every single day. And then we can go to Albany and we can go to City Hall and say, you know what, this is wrong. This is what our family needs. It's not what you're proposing. This is what they need. Okay, and I believe that having someone that you can relate to, okay, that you see that person that has a family the same way you do, have kids the same way you do, struggles with the same issues that you struggle with. I think you can better relate with that person and say, you know what, this person is for the people.
Now, besides the education and such as traditional universities, etc., your basis is educating the people so that we can fight the issues, as in the Con Edison.
Right. So
we spoke very briefly about that a long time ago, but this is the first time we've actually gone into details.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. So I believe that education is power, and it comes through knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the more educated you are in the issues and the different circumstances in your community, the better well-off, the better decisions that you can make. At the same time, only applied knowledge is power. Because I know a lot of people that know a lot of stuff, but they just do nothing with it. So what I want to do is be able to really empower my community. Okay, we all talk about having a progressive, movement. I'm talking about really having a progressive movement where we educated leaders from the people from the community so they can rise up and say, you know what, I want to be a community leader. I want to be the next assemblyman. Okay, which I completely have no problem with that. Okay, I want to be able to say, you know what, we become the assembly member, we're there for X amount of years, but I want to be able to say, we have left a team, of community members that can take the baton and keep moving our community forward. And it comes through education, it comes through knowledge.
Now, with the District 79, for the viewers that don't know, obviously Eric Stevenson was in my view, and to many, something we try to forget. But since you opened my eyes with some more information that I didn't know before, I'll keep an open mind, and I'll even extend an invitation for Mr. Stevenson to come down one day and explain the situation, because once again, as you said, there's two sides to every story.
There's always two sides, absolutely.
So if I keep towards the parts that I do know, is that there was a situation where he was giving certain people the building rights, their authority to build in certain areas when it came to the elderly homes in the Bronx. Well, if I move that aside and we look at some of the other District 79 candidates, where a lot of things such as where do you live comes up, and what have you done for the community, etc. So we move that aside. What do you plan to do for us? And do we see any negativity coming out of the woodwork down the line?
I've been an open book about my life all the time. I have two older children from a previous marriage. We got divorced. I'm not a part-time dad. I have my dads every single weekend of the month except the third weekend. Okay, so my kids know who their father is. I have a good relationship with their mother. And I've always taught my daughters, because I have 4 kids, but they're all girls. So I've always told my daughters that mother's only one is the most important figure in your life, and that they always got to be there for her. And it doesn't matter what happened between mom and I. She's mom, I'm dad, and we're always there for them. Okay. So I feel that one of the things that makes us a whole lot different is that we are an open book. We share our lives with many of the people that we speak to when we're talking to them. I'm actually going to share something with you, which I don't think we had a chance to discuss. And I'm not sharing this out of pity, because I don't need anyone to feel pity for me. But, when I speak to people in the community and they say, well, we're having problems, because we're homeless, or we are double up with someone, or we live with a relative, or we're crashing on someone's couch. I know how that feels, because at one point I was homeless. I used to actually walk into Lincoln Hospital and pretend that I was waiting for someone at the emergency room just so I can stay warm. So when you take all of this in a nutshell, I know what it is to be unemployed. I know what it is to have a zero budget, and always working on the negative and always trying to catch on with your bills. So when you share this with people, they say, you know what? Wow, out of all the people that I've spoke to, you're the most real candidate that we have ever met. And then they get to meet my wife, obviously, which, she is my number one supporter. They get to meet our kids, and they say, wow, this is someone that has a solid foundation with his family, and this is someone that can help us move in the right direction. And when you talk about my wife, everyone asks me when we did not make this decision to run last year, or when Mr. Stevenson got indicted, when it became a vacancy. We decided to run for this seat actually about 4 years ago. And I always thought that I had all the time in the world to do this, but it quickly catches up with you and you realize that you don't. But I met with a few people, a lot of people that have given me great advice. And, recently, about a year ago, when we started really working, and coming out, letting really everyone know that we were running, people were asking me, well, what elected official has endorsed you? What political club has endorsed you? Or who is coming out for you? And I made it very clear, no elected official has endorsed me. Okay? I've spoken to a lot of them, they all know that I'm running. No political club has come out and endorsed me. But I spoke to the most, in my head, in my mind, okay, and in my heart, is the most important person in the Bronx. It's the most influential person in the Bronx. and that is my wife. And she said, you know what? Let's go do this.
She endorses you, and
she endorsed me 100%.
That's the starting point. Well, as an executive officer of a nonprofit organization, I know the rules for the FCC and the IRS, etc. But you know what? I'm going to be borderline right here and let you know that if I was within the 79 district, if I was a registered voter, if I could vote for you, I would.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
One, for many reasons. One, because I know you are a man of the people. And two, because, what you've done so far is more inspirational than just, this is what I'm doing type of thing. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to finish off with Raul Rodriguez with an open discussion. Thank you.
My name is Gonzalo Duran. I was in the United States Marine Corps for 8 years. In 2008, I was deployed to Iraq, and I lived next to the burn pits out there. Unfortunately, at that time, I wasn't aware that it was affecting my lungs. Well, with the burn pits, they weren't being properly regulated, and so they were burning anything and everything you can imagine. I lived in a shack maybe less than a mile away from the burn pit. So while they were burning, the dust, debris, etc. would come surround us, but it's not like you can pick up and move. With that issue, for me, it messed up my lungs, and unfortunately, I have a lot of skin issues as well. Fashion Has Hearts is very unique. Now, with fashion, it's bringing, veterans with artistic and their backgrounds and putting them in a different atmosphere for many, and giving them the opportunity that they would not come in contact with. Originally, I wanted my colors to be military or my branch, but to keep it more to the professional and simple look, I chose more of a black or grayscale outline. The shape of the insoles look just like a lung, so the inside will be the design of the lung. Then keeping with the phrase and the design of professional yet subtle with the motto. The outside is very basic. There's boss that represents a skyline, and then the bottom and inside have the different representations.
Hello, today we have Raul Rodriguez, candidate for District 79. So far we've talked about your background, why you're running, what keeps you to be so active. For me and you, we have a rich history together. When I got out of the military, I came back home. I was looking for some kind of direction to help me go somewhat stabilize and then further. I was very fortunate that one of our friends introduced me to you. You kept on pinging me every semester about college and yada yada yada, and I'm like, whatever. But the point is, it's one of the foundations that kept me going. And now I'm here with my bachelor's degree in less than 2 years. So thank you very much for those pings every now and then. But besides that, you took me knowing, my qualifications as a leader, as my charisma, etc. And you put me in your cabinet seats for when you were, as you said before this commercial, this isn't something that you decided, 6 months before Eric Stevenson got in trouble. You've been planning this for years.
Yes.
You saw the potential in me, and you asked me, Gonzalo, I want you on my cabinet. I want you to do this. I want you to push for the veteran community. And I agreed. But unfortunately, when I became the executive officer for Double Dog, I had to step down. But even then, instead of being some kind of grudge or some kind of space between us, it's been the opposite. You've jumped into a lot of things that I've been doing. You've helped out in our small programs, making them big programs. And then on top of that, the house that we've been reconstructing, you've come in more than 2 occasions to help us clean up. and it's not even within your district. Why help me? Why continue this?
I have to say, well, we are the definition of progress. You know, I can claim that I want to be a progressive leader and help my community if, if you need help and I turn my back on you, okay? And the fact that, when you come in, you were very instrumental to the very early stages of our campaign, of our race, with all the research and all the support and all the data that you were able to put together. So, I want to thank you again for that, because that really gave us the foundation that we needed to keep building. When you stepped aside to follow your dreams, okay, I know that we share the same vision, okay, we both have different dreams, but I know that the vision in the end is for a better community, is for progress, is to make sure that we provide those resources, again, that were either taken away at one point or that we never had for members in our community. We ask our young men and women to go fight for our freedom, to go fight for our country. But a lot of the times, more often than not, when they do come back, there's a lot of things that they're missing, that they're lacking. And the fact that you stepped up to the plate and said, you know what, this is what I want to do, to be able to provide these resources for veterans that are coming back, or the veterans that have been here for a while. Okay, it's progress. For me, I applaud that. And I'm grateful that you left. If you would have stayed, who knows? You would have never even be sitting here with me now. So I'm very grateful for the work that you did, but I'm more excited for your future. Okay, and the fact that you stepped away, okay, and went ahead and followed your dreams.
Well, thank you very much. And it's not too shabby to say on record that this is the product of what your work accomplishes. Now, is there any, besides the topics that we've talked about so far regarding the platform, is there any ones that we haven't heard? Because right now we just looked at the veteran population. Obviously, you're pro-veteran, education, housing, employment. Is there any other ones that we haven't touched?
Yeah, public safety, like I mentioned before. I mentioned that earlier today. I read an article that stop and frisk has gone 90% down, but shootings have gone up 10%. So I believe that a strong advocate for the community needs to step up, okay, and reform has to take place.
For somebody like me, I'm 28 years old, and I've lived in the Bronx my whole life, minus the 8 years in the military. I've never been stopped, frisked. I really have no negative views on it. Now, obviously, there is a negative view in statistical numbers because the demographics, the location, the population that's being, targeted. And then we have Eric Garner's situation where,
very unfortunate,
which was very unfortunate that him passing away because of procedures not being followed properly. Now, this is what I'm taking from you. You're not saying you're against these issues. You're against trying to prevent them from happening overall.
Yeah, no, you can't put a price on someone's life, and I believe that, there's a due process, okay, for someone that is breaking the law, to come to justice. So, and it has to go both ways, I believe that, again, reform needs to take place. And there's a lot of things that we can do, okay, to make sure that the community is more aware, okay, of these issues. And that also the police is more aware. We don't need to feel threatened or scared or afraid by, when the police comes up to us. We should be able to engage them in a civil conversation, and if you are breaking the law, then there are those steps that need to be taken. So there's a lot of stuff that is happening in our community, and a lot of people are sharing their views, okay, and their feelings on them. And I think that people need to be listened to, okay, and and also the police department needs to be listened to. And at the end of the day, this is our community. You know, they do their job by serving and protecting us, okay? And we have to do our job by being good citizens.
So we have a problem. We need a person to look for a resolution, which hopefully will be you in a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Couple weeks.
excuse me.
Yeah, September 9th is right around the corner.
Ooh, that is close.
That is very close.
Now, when you are in that seat, we bring our problem to you. You do the paperwork on the left side, and then on the right side, gather the manpower to rally against it. So that's basically bringing those two things together, making them one, and being listening to the people. That's basically what I'm getting my grasp on.
Yes.
So instead of worrying about whose budget that we're affecting or giving one person property over another, whatever.
Yes.
You're not about that. You're about getting that resolution.
You know, I've said this to many people and to many community leaders. You know, I'm not coming into this to divide us more than what we've been divided. You know, because we have been divided for years. You know, when I say we as a community, okay, I come into this with a fresh start, okay, a new direction for our community, a better future for our children. You know, and I see myself really as a coalition builder. I see myself actually going to both parties and being that mediator, you know, which I have a lot of experience in as being a parent coordinator. You know, I've had many issues with parents coming in outraged about certain issues, which a lot of the times they have the right to.
Yeah, I can't imagine dealing with a parent.
Right, but also at the same time knowing that, you know, it's the school is doing what they have to do, you know, for that child's education. And being in between those two groups, I mean, it's not an easy place to deal with, you know. So being able to deal with situations like that, I think, is really has prepared me for being able to unite my community. Because 99.9% out of the time, those parents, when they left, they giving me high fives, hugs, you know, and telling me, thank you so much for being here, you know, and for helping us. You know, and that's really what our community needs. Our community needs a leader that can, you know, represent everyone, be a coalition builder, okay, be able to work with Albany and City Hall, okay, to be able to pass the best legislation possible for our community and to bring the best resources that we can have in our community.
You know, taking that part and going back to a little bit of what you were saying earlier, sharing us your situation for that brief time that you were in a homeless situation. I mean, you know my story. I mean, mine is more public than yours. But, you know, when I was homeless, transitioning back home, coming to the Bronx, getting that person to push me in the direction where you were from, or where you were, and then inviting, and then the warm openness that you gave me. I can honestly say from the day that I met you after that time period, that there was a place that I needed for comfort, for food, for etc. You know, you were always there with open hands. I want to say the first 2 Thanksgivings that I had readjusting, I mean, I went to your home to eat. And I don't know about the third time coming because when it's 12 o'clock and that's when turkey's done, we eat at 12 o'clock, not 12:15, not 1 o'clock. I don't care what we're waiting for. When it's turkey, that time. But all humor aside, everything that I look towards of what I should be doing now all came from you. The openness, the advocacy, the rallying, etc. I mean, most of my volunteer experience in the Bronx for my first year were to your volunteer campaigns that you were doing. You know, like, why
Oh, the different community events.
this
You will grill man at 2 barbecues.
I was like,
Hey, what am I doing here?
yeah, okay, got it. You hustled into it, but then the whole point is that I saw somebody to look up to, and then the fundamentals that I had already from the military, I just used them in here with the progressive, what I was missing from the Bronx neighborhood. So obviously, I am your product right there. So if you sharing your story helps out another person that's out there knowing that, hey, in a couple of years, they could be running for assemblyman or state senator.
You know, and that's powerful. That's progress. See, because you said it more than once. You know, you look up to me, but I was actually looking up to you because okay, you represent everything that we're trying to achieve, everything that we're fighting for, which is, for a lot of people might think, just an average Joe in our community, okay, that is trying to do something. For us, in my household and in my mind, is this is a powerful leader, okay, and it needs to be geared, okay, and guided towards the right direction. So, you know, no, listen, I just thank you for being a friend, you know. And yeah, as far as the Thanksgivings, I don't know, man. My house was a Dominican household, and they, you know, turkey's done at 12, but we eat at 4. I don't know what to tell you. So it's just our way.
Well, since I'm not struggling anymore, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it this time. This year, okay?
Yes.
Once again, thank you so much for coming, Raul.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, okay?
Once again, this is Raul Rodriguez running for candidate 79. The election date is September 9th.
September 9th, that's right. Polls open up at 6 a.m. They close at 9 p.m. You know, and you know, we need the help from the community. We need the support. You know, we need the community to come out and say, you know what, we're going to cast our vote. You know, I wish, you know, you would never hear me say anything negative about any other candidate, because I feel that whoever wins, okay, we have to support that person, okay, and guide that person to make sure that that person doesn't lose focus, okay, on what the bigger picture is.
Now, besides choosing the location, where could the people reach you at?
Oh, sure. So I'm going to do something that a lot of candidates don't do, which is I'm going to, you know, I've always given out my personal cell phone number, because I believe that, you know, if you can reach someone and contact someone right away, that's better than leaving a message. So my personal cell phone number is 917-741-7038. And also you can reach us via our website, which is VOTE, V-O-T-E, Raul Rodriguez, 2014.com.
Oh, thank you once again for being here.
Oh, thank you.
To the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines.